you're live.
And I'm live. Yes, I'm live. And this is right in my way. Whoops, sorry, Brandon. Uh-oh.
Oh,
there we go.
I'll take care of it.
Oh, it's falling.
I will
it's
get it.
falling.
I will get it.
There we go. Okay. And we're back. Hi, everybody. It's always an adventure with our new broadcast. Welcome. It's Wednesday, the 13th of February, and I'm Kate Richburg, and we are live here at beadshop.com. It's our first live in our new studio, so we've got some things that we are ironing out as usual, but we're super excited to be in our new digs, our new studio, broadcasting, and with a brand new project. It's all fantastic, and I see you guys are jumping on, so I see you here, I see you there. I'm Kate Richburg, I'm in front of the camera. Brandon's behind the camera today, and just as a reminder, we're not doing any YouTube broadcasting today because we're having a little trouble with our multi-destination broadcasting, but it'll be back. Don't you worry. Don't you worry at all. We'll have that back. Well, we have had such a whirlwind already this year. As you guys know, Emily and I were live last week from Tucson, which was great. We did the Wire Olympics, and it was a lot of fun for us, for sure. And we are going to just settle in, and we'll be making some improvements to our fun little studio here, but it's great to be back. So here we are. We also wanted to mention a big shout out to our wonderful webmaster, Karen. She's actually out. She had a little bit of a minor foot issue that she had to get taken care of, but today is Karen's birthday. So it's her very special day, and we want to give a big shout out to Karen. So Karen is on the mend. We'll be back soon, and a very, very happy birthday to our very own webmaster, Karen. So that's what's going on here. So for you guys are there, and we are going to jump into this great project. I'm going to have Brandon move the camera around so we can get started. I'm going to show you, we have some new beads that I wanted to talk to you about, and then we'll get started on the project. So let's move it around, Brandon, and see if we can make this happen. I've got the camera right here. Look at that. We'll put it here, and I'm going to put it up right here for you guys. So bear with me while I get that in there. Sorry about that. There we go. Locked and loaded, I think.
And then one more moment.
And we're going to plug that in to make sure that we always have power here. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So that's our story. We're sticking to it. I think you guys can kind of see this crazy setup we've got. So I think, Brandon, can we move it out at all? Because I think I want to be a little bit, sorry you guys, I'm going to see if we can move this out a little bit. Move it over.
Yeah,
I think that's better.
Without anything on the table,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay, I think we're good there, maybe. Yes.
Maybe just a little bit down this.
Down, okay.
Because we're getting way
gotcha,
up here.
gotcha. That looks pretty good, I think.
Yes. I think
What do we think? We've got my hands, and
Yep.
you can zoom in and out.
Yeah.
I'll move my computer over. There we go. And so you guys, just as a reminder, we won't be live on YouTube today, but I will have the YouTube feed up and running after we do this broadcast. Okay, so that's just an FYI for you guys. Okay, so I know I love this new studio space too. I'm super excited, and the broadcast is real clear, Bran. It looks really good, I think.
Yeah, the camera is nice.
Yeah, it's looking good. So hopefully, just a note for Brandon, and so I don't forget, when we end this broadcast, save it on the Mevo, and I think I'll be able to upload it from there.
Okay.
So it'll be super clear on YouTube too. Okay, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So let's start, you guys, with some of our new beads. It seems so funny. I can't believe we're back we're in the studio and we're actually doing some live broadcasts. That's just crazy talk, but I'm very happy to be here. Before we talk about Janice's project, February Love, I wanted to talk to you about some of our new beads that we've just gotten in. You know that we have fan favorites. We have some of our 8mm rondelles and some of our melons. And we thought, since they were so awesome, that we wanted to add a few new colors to see what was happening. So we grabbed 4 new. How's that, Brandon? Okay.
Perfect.
4 new ones in the rondelles, and let me see how many in the melons. 1, 2, I think 5 new ones in the melons. Yes, 3, 4, and 5. And so these 8mm are fantastic, and Janice has used them in the project today, and I'll show you that in a second. We use the rondelles and the melons, but you could create a whole new look with what she did with your own color palette. Our new rondelles that we have, this is the Meadow mix, and the Meadow mix, you can see, is a mix. And it's actually, I think, what I'm going to be using today in my alternate colorway. And you can see it's a mix of like milky glass all the way down to kind of this cool tourmaline color. So I really love that. We also have the Dandelion Rondelles. It's dandelion color. And they're kind of a mustard, kind of a yellow. I really, really like them a whole lot. And then... you know, Brandon, I'm going to have you double check. I think these might be the mustard.
I grabbed from the dandelion, but I'll take a...
Can you just double check?
double check.
Let's make sure that I'm not,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden I struck fear in my heart, and I'll keep going over these. Stone mix here. We have kind of a cool mixture of the beads coated in the Picasso, which I love. And then we have this ruby and ladybug red. So it's kind of a mix in the glass, which I think is gorgeous. I think they really go really nicely together, this kind of cool color. And then what we've got, nope, that's the one.
It is. What's interesting is I grabbed the mustard.
Oh.
It's a mustard pumpkin, and you see that it's the same.
Yeah, right, so it's in that mix that we have. Right, but we did have it. I thought I had recognized it from before. But yeah, so that's the dandelion, and it also comes in this, what's this mix called?
Mustard pumpkin.
Mustard pumpkin mix. So so it's kind of cool. So you can get that yellow all in one, which is cool. Then these guys, I'll move this over and I'll get these over here so you guys can see these. These are the new melons, and these are 6mm. And we have, you know, it's kind of rare to have a really good true purple bead. And this one they're calling Purple Pansy, and it has some of this purple in the ridges of the melon, and then it has 2 color, kind of a light and a dark purple as well. So if you like purple, this is a great bead. Again, it's hard to make a good true purple glass, but this is, I think, a really pretty color. And then we've got some more. We've got this blue, which I am in love with. It's bronze with a turquoise wash, which I can't get enough of, which I think I'm going to use in my alternate colorway today. The bronze over the top is a nice, beautiful bronze. It has a little bit of a copper tone to it, which I love, as you all know. So I'm going to set that over there with my kind of palette that I've got working. Then we've got chocolate and mercury. It's the mercury coating over the top with a chocolate glass underneath. And the mercury, it really makes this look like a vintage bead. So if you love vintage as much as I do, this is a good one for you to grab. Then we've got 2 that are kind of similar in tone. This guy is the brown sage melons, and the coloring in the ridges is almost kind of a red-orange, which I love. And then we have a metallic mix, and here's all the metallics really beautiful soft metallic colors. So all of these, I think, are winners. At least we think they're winners. And so these are good. So these are all up, ready for you in our just-ins. You know, the thing that I talked about Czech glass a while back, you know, that the Czech glass, when they make it, it can differ from batch to batch, kind of like yarn, right? When we say, you know, when you go to the yarn store and you're buying yarn for a project, they always tell you to buy everything that you need from that dye lot, because it may vary, because, you know, it may vary. Same thing with these Czech glass beads, right? The Czech glass may vary from batch to batch. The glass color may be lighter, the coating may be slightly different. So if you are making a project, you want to make sure that you buy enough to complete that project. Number one, as I said, because it might change. And number two, sometimes we can't get it back in for a while. You know, these beads come from the Czech Republic and sometimes on a slow boat from the Czech Republic. So when we have them, it's awesome. And when we're out, sometimes it can take a month or two even for the beads to return. So if you love them, grab them. Okay. So I'm going to put these aside. And just a reminder, we are not live on YouTube today. We were having a little bit of an issue with our multi-destination streaming, but it will be back up on YouTube soon, and I will have the YouTube uploaded after our broadcast is finished. Okay. So here is the February Love project that Janice did. And, you know, with all of our moving and all of our craziness that's been going on around here, Janice was like, oh my gosh, we should have a project for these new beads. And so she cranked this sucker out in record time. And I love it. It's super simple, you know, just basic wire wrapping, but it incorporates so many great different elements that I think you guys are gonna love making. And so what I want to do is kind of go over the elements that Janice has done here, and then I'm going to demo them for you. Okay. I can hear a lot of you talking about, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this on the replay, the weather may be better where you are, but we have been having some crazy weather. I'm noticing you guys commenting from across the miles. We're having some crazy weather also here in California, but we can always use the rain, which is a good thing. So hopefully everybody's staying safe and dry and warm and having fun with this this project that we're doing today. It's a great winter weather project for you, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about some of the elements that Janice has used in this piece. And you can see she's used these guys here, the 8mm English cuts, which I love. I think they're a fun, also very vintage. You can see in the bead itself, Janice and I, not Janice and I, Emily and I, whoever that was, last week when we were doing the Wire Olympics, we were using English cuts. And you can really see this visible line, the visible mold line, I guess, along the bead itself. So it really does show kind of a vintage vibe to it. And you can see Janice has just made some little bead units here with some hishi that she's got going on here. This is the bronze hishi, and this really beautiful the seed bead. And I don't have that seed bead color. Do you have the list behind you, Brand? Let me take a quick look. And you know what I'm also going to need, Brandwin, that I think we didn't grab. It's the, we've got the seed bead. It's the matte metallic gold 8-aught. But I am going to need some hishi in both bronze and copper.
Okay.
So grab those guys.
Cast?
Yeah, the tiara hishi.
Bronze and copper.
Please, oh please. And we'll continue to examine this piece while you're doing it.
Up real close.
Yeah, I can see that perfectly. Excellent. You can see then she repeats this little pattern periodically throughout the piece. So it kind of gives your eye kind of a place to rest. and she alternates that English cut with the rondelle, that 8mm rondelle. Can you see that there? So it is really, they're kind of a good foil for each other, I think. They look really great. And then we've got just some of the plain melons right here, just wire wrapped right on their own. And then Janice went in and used the 3mm melons as well. And you can see how we've got those. I've actually got some on the strand. But you can see the mix of these beads here. So there's the 6mm, and then the 3mm, and then the rondelles, and the, I think it was these guys, and the English cuts, which are all gorgeous. So I think they are working out really, really beautifully. I love how they all look together. And so, let me see, I'm just looking at my list of everything that we used. Melons, English cuts. So Janice actually used on here, she used the chestnut mix, which is listed, and she pulled out these red ones. But you could also use our new, the Ruby and Ladybug. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yes.
Ruby and Ladybug mix. Yeah, which is cool. So both of those will work for this project. I think it's really great. And then, so that's these guys here. What I pulled kind of a fun palette here that I might play around with. I'll share with you in just a second. Let me just point out a couple more of the units here. We used the squash blossom bead, which I adore. Janice used it in the bronze. And then she also used our new hibiscus, which is this guy here. And the new hibiscus bead is a beautiful one for the centerpiece. So these all will work really great together. And can you see how Janice put this? When, I'm going to start from the back. As she created this piece, you can see how the back has just a single piece going up and back. That smooth sailing chain lets you adjust it like this. And then you can see how these three pieces, 3 strands, and you could do more or less, they come together on this jump ring. So we go from 1, 2, 3 strands, tapering down all into one right here. You can see that. And you can see this one's just chain, this one's beaded links, and then this one's beaded links that's slightly smaller. That one that's slightly smaller, you can see, terminates right here into this jardin ring, and we've got this garnet briolette that hangs underneath. And then this one, the other beaded link, let me see if I can untangle it here from this chain. Can you see how this comes together and how this is connected with the hibiscus piece here in the middle, which it makes a nice focal. That's wire wrapped on a head pin. And then we've got 2 jump rings here that connect it to this second strand. So it has a lot of nice movement because of these jump rings here. Kind of like in the 90s, we were all wearing Y necklaces, right? It's kind of the same way that we constructed those. 2 strands coming, terminating in a jump ring, and then having some kind of dangle coming from the bottom. And then Janice has just a plain strand of these two lanterns chain right here that just kind of add to the texture of it. So when I hold it up, let me lay it out again. When I hold it up, and I'll have Janice, or Brandwin, why am I getting everybody so confused today? What day is it? Who are you guys? I don't know you. I'll have Brandwin take a close-up view of it when we're forward again, so you guys can see it. But you can see it all falls really nicely, and this chain just kind of does its own thing, which is good. Okay, so so we've got that going on there. So I'm going to get rid of this guy for just a second, and I want to play with some of the component parts that I brought in that have these this new colorway that I've got. Brandwin, you know what I didn't get Do you want to grab a few of the English cuts, maybe the smaller ones, in some kind of blues? Let's see what we've got.
Okay.
I don't know. See what you can find. Let's play. Let's see what Dandelion brings back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the smaller. Yeah. So you can see for this piece with the Jardin ring that Janice did, that I've got here. Let me make sure that I'm in view. Looks like I am. Let me make that just a little bit bigger. So you can see Janice used that Jardin ring. When I was frantically pulling items to kind of play with for you guys today on air, I decided not to go with the ring. We do have some other rings that I think would look cool, but I thought, wouldn't a terminal of having a button look great? And I thought it would be fun for you guys to see how I might wire wrap that. So this is our Bonkers button here. This is our Shall We Dance, and then this is our swirl. Any of these three would work out really, really well as the middle. So let me show you how I would connect that, okay? I also chose this, our organic bee, because I thought the bee and the hibiscus went together really nicely. So I chose that guy here to maybe drop from this section instead of the briolette. But you could also use, I also grabbed some of this, what are those guys? I had them written down a second ago. The Jade Picasso, I think. Yeah, the Jade Picasso check drops would also look cool with this. So you could add a few of those as well. And I might do a couple of things. So let me see what I've got. Okay, so let's start with this center. Because, you know, when I do a necklace like this, you guys, I start in the center because that is, in my mind, the most important part of this piece. So that's where I'm going to begin. So let me cut some wire. We've got some 24 gauge. I'm going to be working in copper. So I've got some 24 gauge antique copper, the parawire. And I think it's just perfect for what we're doing. You could jump up to a 22 gauge for these glass beads. It'll have a little more of a substantial look to it, and the wire would fit nicely through those beads as well. I'm going to cut, I don't know, you're asking, Kate, how much wire are you cutting? I have no idea. Let me give you an idea, I guess. I'm going to cut, how about 8 inches? How does that sound? I don't know, might be too much, but let's see what happens. Now, to make a button into a dangle, and again, you can see how Janice used this Jardin ring for the center, right here, right? It's that guy right there. She also, further up in the necklace, used these hammer tone spacers, which you could also, you know, use here instead of the ring. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this swirl button. And see how I just get the wire through, and I'm going to come through. This is, again, 24 gauge. I could use 22, but I want something that's fairly malleable, so it will really conform to the size and shape of this button. And where are my pliers? There they are. I got them. There, and I'm going to wrap through one more time here. And Brandon has a nice tight shot up there so you guys can see. See how I'm going about 3 times here, and see how that gives me a nice, just a nice, interesting kind of look there. A little fuller than maybe just having a single. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this kind of like I would a briolette, kind of how Janice did that one. I'm going to bend at a right angle this wire, and we have, you guys, on beadshop.com. Okay, Janice, I can tell you right now, 22 gauge is not going to fit through those briolettes. I will bet you $5 it's not gonna happen, but I'll check it in a minute. I actually would use the 24 gauge works. I also would use maybe 26 even, just depending on your briolette. I'm going to come up and over the top I'm going to go down and underneath. And again, like I was saying, with our skill builders on beadshop.com, we have a great skill builder on how to wire wrap a briolette. I think it actually might even be my hands from many, many years ago doing that. And see that little neck that's opened? I'm just going to come in, wire wrap it around. Janice did kind of a cool, intentionally messy wrap, which I think is cool. Just like the messy bun is cool, right? We'll do a messy wrap. So I'm going to come back and wrap it around here and wrap it around. And it also gives you a little more visual heft to that piece, which I think is good, especially if it's part of the centerpiece. Okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to clip away the extra, and then I'm going to clip away the extra here. Okay, and I'm going to tuck away these little bits here and here, maybe. There we go. So it's not going to catch on anything. And I want to slide that to the center. So you can see I've got this going right here. All right? Looks good? Looks okay? Then I need to make some decisions. So what Janice did was she hung the briolette right off of there. But I think what I'm going to do, if I used this bee, let me see. How far afield should I go? Let's just see. So we've got this 2 lanterns, okay, that Janice used in the piece. I got it in the copper. Just stick with me here a second and see. Just, you know how I like to mix things up, but you know, who knows what's going to happen. I'm going to free these drops, okay? I don't know. And this could also be kind of an earring companion to it as well. Let me do this, let me do that. I don't know, ever since coming back from Tucson, I've been kind of in this vintage vibe kind of thing lately. So maybe that's what I'm thinking. But just stick with me, everybody. Stick with me. We're going places today. Okay, so I'm going to do another piece of chain, maybe just slightly longer. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. I'm going to cut it right there. Long enough so that it looks intentional. Maybe I'll cut it there so it doesn't look like a mistake. Right? Make them different enough. Okay, and then I'll have this guy up there. Let me free one of these bronze and turquoise deliciousnesses right there. I can't even take how beautiful this bead is, right? I know, I guess I have vintage in my blood. I don't know why. I just do. I think maybe it comes from growing up with my grandparents. We always had a lot of old things hanging around. My mom has a love of vintage stuff. We've always loved vintage jewelry together, played around with vintage jewelry, as did my beloved little gran. And you know, Janice, she was weaned on vintage at the knee of her mother Lydia. So I think we all kind of dig this vintage business going on, right? So, okay, I've made this little wire wrap, or this little loop, right? Now I'm going to connect this because we have to connect. If we're going to do a connect to connect, we have to do it here. Though what Janice did, and maybe it's a better idea, Janice used a jump ring, which is actually what I think I'm going to use because we want that movement, okay? So let me wire wrap this closed, all right? I hope you guys last week enjoyed the Wire Olympics with Emily and I. You know, sorry it was a 2-parter from Tucson, but streaming from Tucson is always a crapshoot. Completely. But we had a lot of fun creating wire together. Emily will be back, hopefully towards the end of the month. She has a couple of really great projects cooked up for you guys, so I can't wait to share those projects with you. I just loved sitting there creating with Emily. We had such a fun time in Tucson. Makes me miss her, and I know you guys miss her too, but she'll be back soon. Okay, So before I wire wrap this closed, you guys, I am going to put this little lovey-dovey bead on that loop. Okay, we can't wire wrap it closed until that's on there. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with my pliers, grab onto it just there, and wire wrap that. And to make it look intentional, again, I'll do that bottom wrap as kind of a messy wrap. Okay, but intentional, always with intention. Unless you're a bad wire wrapper, then just tell people that was your intention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those messy wraps are my intention. Thank you very much. And again, you guys were mentioning on YouTube, sorry we're having those technical difficulties today, but it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. I know a lot of you love watching this broadcast on YouTube. Including my mom, because I know that you guys, a lot of you connect it to your televisions at home. So I look super giant when I'm doing all this. So I promise it'll be up and it'll be fixed shortly. We're still settling in to our new digs and trying to figure everything out. But you know what? Step one, we've got internet, Brandon. That's a that's a big one, right? We've got it. So I think I'm going to intentionally repeat this blue down here with these guys. And you can see, as I was talking, my hands were working automatically. So let me do this again, so I'll slow it down so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I've got this drop, okay, and I'm putting this drop on, and this is how I start a briolette wrap as well, okay? And I am pulling this together, and then I am kind of coming in with my plier. I don't know if you guys can see that straight up even, but I come in and I give it a little pinch. So it gives it kind of an automatic little triangle above the tip of either the briolette or the drop, okay? That gives it a nice, just a nice shape. Now what I'm going to do, instead of making a loop and wrapping it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire wrap this closed. Okay, so with that short piece, I'm going to wrap it, and I'm going to not be intentionally messy. I'm just going to get a couple of little wraps there and then clip this off. Can you also see, you guys, how this would make a perfect terminus to a head pin, to an earring, right? No, I love it. And Michelle, you were asking, did I get that new book on Madeleine Albright and her pins? I saw that we chatted about it a little bit on my Facebook page. I have been saving it. It's actually on my wish list. I'm trying to be a little frugal with my book buying this month. I don't know why I am, but I bought a few books earlier. So it's on my wish list to get, but I can't wait to hear your review. We were talking about former Secretary of State in the U.S. here, Madeleine Albright. She was known for wearing, or is known for wearing, her pins, vintage pins on her lapels, and she has just come out with a new book where she discusses it and how the pins are really a reflection of kind of her mood and things. So it really sounds like an incredible book. So I'll be adding it to my library soon, that's for sure. I appreciate the heads up on that. So can you see here, this would be like earrings, all right? And I could just add some beads, put them on an ear wire, and that's it. But I'm going to use these instead as the finishing for this chain. And I wanted to echo these beads. And again, I'm getting a little crazy, a little far afield from what Janice is doing here. But can you see, if you are more of a simpler, kind of classic look, this strand would be beautiful on its own. But watch what I do here. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing that it's going to look okay. I hope it will. Let's see what happens. I'm going to just wire wrap this again, bend, up and over the top, down and underneath. Don't forget, you get so excited that you're wire wrapping that you forget to add it. You could always use a jump ring, but I want these to be an all-encompassing loop. Okay, so let's do that. And I'm just going to hold that there, and wire wrap this closed. Right? There we go. And I'll clip this extra away like this and get this little very tippity tip right in there. So if we look at this now, look at what a fantastic shoulder duster that would make, right? Earring wise. But it's going to be part of kind of this tassel. I've had tassels on the brain. Number one, because we are doing, we have some tassels that are coming up for, we're working on them at our bead retreat, and I'm going to talk to you about our bead retreat at the end of the broadcast because sign-ups open up tomorrow, which is really exciting. But I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the broadcast. We'd love to have you join us to bead together. But I also found yesterday as we're cleaning, you know, and working in my archives, I found, and I'll have to show you guys, maybe next week, I don't know, week after, I found my very first article that was published many years ago. And it was an article about tassels, and my author photo is hilarious. So I'll show you guys that someday. But I have tassels on the brain for sure. Now let me put these three together, okay? I'm going to put this guy on. I'm going to put our bee on. And I'm going to put, let's make sure that this is turning the correct way. There we go. I'm going to put our bee on. And I'm going to put this third tassel on, and then I'm going to put all this on this button. All right, let's see. And I actually need not a round nose to close that up. Kate, I need a bent chain or a straight chain. Okay, there we go. Let's see what that, whoops, that was the worst job I've ever done closing a jump ring in my whole life. There we go, that's better. So look at that. I think that is hilariously beautiful, right? The little things there. I could even add my flower just below it. I got a, what I was saying hilarious wise, I just caught corner of my eye caught Tammy's comment here on the live feed. She said, I'm rubbing off on you, Kate. Everything is better with the tassel. It's so true. Tammy Drennan, one of our bead table members and who's watching now, is the queen of the tassels for sure. And Tammy was also, along with her husband Art, one of my wonderful assistants there in Tucson. So I wanted to do another shout out to Tammy and Art both for their wonderful help in Tucson. I could not have done it without them. Let's make this, I don't know if you guys are like me, but you know, to kind of design on the fly. Let's go ahead and add this hibiscus dangling at the bottom, right? These look cool, but I feel like it's empty here, right? So let's fill it. Let's fill it with the hibiscus. I think maybe the same chain. I brought some of this Rustico because I thought the Rustico chain would be awesome in this piece too. We also have the smooth sailing that we did earlier. That's not smooth sailing. That's Endless Love. But I also have the smooth sailing chain here too. I don't know. Maybe that Endless Love chain is maybe what I want to dangle this hibiscus from. Let's do it, okay? And Janice made a really great point here that I want to bring up, always with a designer's eye. She is asking me, does the placement of each tassel leg on the jump ring make a difference? And you know, Janice, it's funny, I was saying that in my head, but I didn't communicate it to you guys who are watching. Yes, placement I think does matter. I was placing this bee in kind of the center of these two just to make it kind of hang in the center. But I think you know, I could switch it out and I could have the bee going over here from this side and then cascading down over here, but I kind of liked the way that center kind of made it work. Let me lay this flat so you guys can kind of see. I think it bridges the gap in between those two chains kind of nicely, but I think it's okay, right? You guys, everybody's weighing in on the chain. Let me see. Let me look at the Rustico chain and see what it looks like. Yeah, maybe you guys are right. It has more of kind of that chatelaine kind of vintage feel to it. So I'll use the same Rustico. Okay, you guys have convinced me.
2 lanterns?
So, sorry, 2 lanterns. That's what I meant. Thank you, Bran. Whatever it's called. Who are you? What are you doing in my dream? What day is this? Why are we here? You know what I didn't grab? I grabbed eye pins and not head pins for this. So I'm going to get this if you wouldn't mind doing that. And it does, yeah. Michelle, you're saying it really shows off the bee. I think it really shows off the bee as well, too. I love it. I think I'll make this hibiscus just slightly shorter because I want this piece to be the longest. I think I'm just going to wire wrap it, maybe without, I like these 3 turquoise beads there, and I don't want it to take away from this hibiscus. So I think I'm just going to wire wrap this right on the chain. Okay, so let me get what Janice did for her hibiscus drop. Let me pull that in. She used a 3mm melon, which is delish, right? This guy right here. I pulled in, which I think will look really nice with this mix, the olivine transparent. It's the 8-4, let me turn this around, 4506. It's the Picasso olivine transparent, which I think is gorgeous. So I'm going to do this guy there. And Linda was saying, yes, you do need gold to make the red glass. That is true. And that's why I mentioned earlier red and purple glasses and sometimes the pink glasses aren't as vibrant as they once used to be because the industry now, gold obviously is very expensive, number one, and number two, it's not particularly safe to fume gold to use it when you're making beads. So there's this beautiful old Italian glass. It's called Rubino Oro, which is ruby gold. It's kind of a pink kind of color. If you find the old vintage beads, and you can just tell that those beads were made with the Rubino Oro. They're just so beautiful. I might have some in my collections. I'll have to bring them in to show you guys. But you can really tell the difference. That's one way that you can really date old beads by the vibrancy of the reds, the pinks, and the purples. Okay, so let me see how long we want to make this. So if that's going there, this is going to go, I think I'm going to wire wrap it right there. Let's see. Let me just double check. Measure twice, cut once, right? I always seem to measure about 10 times and still end up cutting twice, but maybe that's just me. Let me see. I think I want it one up. I think I want it right on that ring right there. So I'm going to cut away this lantern and wrap this bad boy right onto that loop. Oops. A little bit of extra chain there that's on there. Come on now. Come. What did I tell you? We get another one here. Maybe I didn't clip it off all the way. There we go. All this little tiny details, right? And then, that's so funny, Gita. If I were stranded on an island, I would bring the 2 lanterns chain. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, I love that story. If I were stranded on a desert island, I might bring Rustico. I don't know. I am in love with Rustico, but that's also just today, I think. I don't know. I'm very fickle, so depends on what I like that day.
It'd be shadows.
Shadows. Well, yeah. Chain-wise, it might be rust coat, but the bead would definitely be shadows. Just me, a desert island, fancy drinks, and shadow beads. What could be better?
Well, I did start on a discussion of Picasso's.
Right. Maybe some Netflix and maybe a Kindle so I could read forever. That would be awesome. Let's go ahead and get this down here and tighten everything up. Come on there. Come in there. There we go. That head pin was just the perfect length, or eye pin rather. This isn't the best wire wrap I've ever done, but it's not the worst, so I guess we're okay. Okay. And can you see how I just slipped it in there. I didn't even talk about it, right? I added just that little piece of hishi right there, okay? And now let me add it to this guy. We do need to get the orientation of all of this right when we open it. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to add our hibiscus to start, our hibiscus tassel to start. What I really want is, this doesn't have nice movement on this little lantern, so I'm going to cut that one off too, because I want the ring to sit. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to add that on. That'll make it have more movement. The secret to anything, really, is, as Janice likes to say, air. Your clasps always have to have a little air, your chain, your jump rings, everything, so there's movement, right? We want good movement. Let me turn this all around and let's lay this out and let's see how this looks. I think this is kind of gorgeous. And as Tammy was saying earlier, you can always decide to add something or take something away a little bit later. I still feel like this is a little long, right? Isn't that crazy? So better to cut it too long than too short. I'm going to just open this up and make it. I'm not going to cut it yet. This is one little trick that I do. I just put it in there and then I'll double check the length. If I like it, I will go ahead and then cut it off. That's another little tip there. And there we go. Yeah, that's how I want it to hang. Just like that. So that flower, that hibiscus, takes up that space. So I'm going to come in here and very gingerly cut this away without cutting my loop. Right, there we go. Ta-da. So here is this dangle, and it does kind of have that kind of chatelaine kind of feel to it, those little vintage kind of waist pieces that the queen of the castle would wear around, right? With her keys and her different things, right? So it kind of has that chatelaine feel to it, I think. So I know you guys are wondering, well, Kate, how would you connect that to the top? Well, let's go back to Janice's piece here for just a second, okay? And this would also make a great earring. I don't know, I'm kind of in love with it. I don't know, I love it. But here's JP's piece. But here, not to diminish it in any way, but here is, I wanted to put that next to this. So what Janice has, just so we can kind of see the comparison side by side, I took my inspiration from both this centerpiece and this centerpiece here and kind of combined them into that single dangle. I think that this, with this busyness going down here, this might be best served with maybe a chunkier wrap. I also just saw out of the corner of my eye, Tammy Drennan said, I think it needs one more chain with drop. And I think, Tam, you might be right, because what do I have here? 1, 2, 3, I've got 4 dangles. I think that maybe a 5/5 might be good. And I think I want it to sit right there. And I think I'm not going to put a blue one over the top. I would just maybe add it to chain. Or maybe I would make it short and I do that. But I'm going to let that simmer because I'm unsure. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. So I'm just going to let it, as I like to say, when my mom and I quilt, we just like to let it simmer on the back burner. So I'm going to let it stay there. And let's address the necklace part of this. Okay. So again, what Janice used in the front, she used that 2 lanterns that I used down here. And she used this smooth sailing in the back, which I love. And she used that to make this adjustable, right? So I think keeping in the spirit of Janice's piece, I'm also going to use smooth sailing. But what I'm going to do is, and I think it's perfect for just a single strand like that, right? And she used like this hammered piece, the hammer tone, what's this called? It's leaving mine. Hammered oval link. Yep, that's what that one is. Unfortunately, I don't think that one comes in copper. But that's why I grabbed these little guys. So maybe I'll repeat and use, I don't know, maybe I'll use this one. I'm not sure. I'm gonna get there. Let me go ahead and make this top connection though here first. Okay, and what JP did here was she did 2, which is what I think I'm going to do to make it hang a little more like a Y necklace and not like just a straight drop down. So I'm going to put 2 connectors on this. So let's do it. Okay. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of copper wire. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 inches, because I know this isn't going to be that long. And since I have the heavier messy wrap here on the bottom, I want to do kind of a sleek, clean wrap on the top. So I'm just going to do this fast over here, bring it together, wire wrap that closed. Sometimes I just use my fingers, I don't know, when I'm feeling strong, right? And this wire is pretty malleable. It's dead soft wire, acts like dead soft wire, so you don't need to worry about it being overly stiff. I'm going to put that one there. And then I'm going to attach the other wire to the other side. And then, oh, it does come in copper. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, why don't you, Bran? Okay. Why don't you grab 2 of them, just so for consistency's sake. Can you guys tell that I pulled this like 2 minutes before I actually went on air? Poor Brandon, walking back and forth, getting all the things I need, but we need a production assistant in this fancy place now because things are so much further away. I know you're not seeing staff behind me pulling orders and stuff. It's all very exciting. Okay, there we go. Again, not the best wire wraps I've done, but I think the result looks okay. My goodness. There we go. Maybe it's because I need a little brighter light. There's that, and there's that one. There we go. So now, here are these, here and here. Thanks, Bran.
So, brought in a couple of those.
Oh, I forgot. Great.
I just thought they might look nice.
I forgot all about those. Those are the hammer tone rings. Smart,
I was thinking that earlier, how nice they would look in there.
So Bran grabbed both the hammer tone link and the hammer tone rings, which would also work beautifully. Yeah, looks great. Okay. So I think I'm going to just add I'm in love with these turquoise beads. I love them. Brandon brought some of these, the 8mm English cuts. Do you remember what this one was,
That's
Brand?
the blue turquoise.
This one?
Yeah, the sapphire turquoise. Or blue
Sapphire turquoise?
I know it's
Let me
a
look.
or Picasso. I mean, oh, I remembered it at the time.
That's all right. I'm
She's
gonna
gonna
look
pick
right
the
now.
Picasso bead, and that's the
Right.
one that
Let
you
me
did.
look at English cuts. So it's the 8mm English cuts. Let me look here real quick what it is, because we have the power to do that. It is the blue sapphire Picasso. Blue sapphire Picasso would look great with this. This one is the blue green. It has a little bit of red in there, which I also like. Look at this one. This really picks up that jade Picasso, and that's the green aqua, which is gorgeous. The turquoise blue Picasso, which I don't think you grabbed, Brand, would also look great. That, what's that one?
That's the very first one. Blue.
Amethyst blue.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So any of the English cuts, you guys, that you choose would look amaze with this. But I'm just going to go ahead and wire wrap these guys on. Janice used, where did they go? Here they are. Janice used a heavy hand of the Hishi beads and the 8-aught seed beads. So I'm going to mimic that in what I'm doing here. I think it, again, still adds to the vintage vibe of this piece. Makes your beads go a little bit further as well. But look at that. Look at how nice that looks there. And let's go back in to JP's piece, and you can see what she did with her 8mm is she just used them plain, which looks great. And then both the rondelle here and the English cut, where is it? Here, both have that same treatment to help unify the design. These are the Hishi. These are tiara Hishi, not O beads, but you could certainly use O beads as well. O beads would work beautifully with this. I love O beads myself, so they would look great. So I'm going to go ahead and wire wrap this closed. I think I'm just going to jump in and maybe start a section with chain. I mean, why not, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut 2 sections of chain. I'm going to cut this guy here. I want it to be that one, and I want it to be this one here. Okay, there we go. I'm getting prepped here. Go in and go in. Okay, so let me wire wrap this closed, and I want to wire wrap the loop large enough so again it has movement on the chain. You could just close this up and add a jump ring, but I want it, again, I want it to be closed. I don't want the kind of the weak spot of a jump ring, especially in this necklace, to come into play. And not that it would be a weak spot, but you know, jump rings, we carry these nice heavy ones, these 5mm 18 gauge, which would be perfect. Our 4mm would be perfect. Even like our nun design 5mm would look great. But you just decide what works for you. I like wrapping them all together, but some people just don't love wire wrapping links to chain. So then you could just go for it and add a jump ring in between. It would certainly be faster because you could production line this sucker, right? So here's this. Here's that side. So we're getting there. And then I'm going to make this other side to match. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of designing of the one side. Usually on a piece like this is kind of how I start because I want to make sure that the center that I'm making sits together nicely. But then I'll go for it and just make maybe one side or part of one side and then kind of switch it up and go back and forth. I think that since this is a single strand, though I am a big fan of asymmetry, I think that I would make this symmetrical, I think. Though who knows? Who knows what'll happen? You never know. I want to make, I'm striving to make my loops a consistent size. That's just, it's not the end of the world if they're not, but a consistent size always makes things look a little maybe well polished, right? But if they're not, don't sweat it. But it's a goal. Wire loop goals, right? Hashtag wire loop goals.
I know we're getting a lot of briolette comments. Are you interested in having me look for like a peridot or something, a briolette that might?
Sure. Yeah, do we want to put one semi-pressed briolette on their brand?
I know that Janice is.
Yeah,
and
grab
also
something.
They're curious about
Yeah,
how it fits with
maybe.
the wires.
Yeah, maybe
really.
the London blue or something we have a lot of.
Yeah, I'll take.
Let
a
me
look
see. I will actually tell you
because I was
right at this moment.
I was trying to look it up on my iPad.
I'm going to tell you what to grab. Let me see what I've got. Isn't this fun, you guys? We're just building this. Poor Brandon running back and forth, but it's kind of fun to do it on the fly. How about Bran grabbing me a grab me one indicolite,
Okay.
one green serpentine, and one green amethyst.
Okay. Green turpentine, indicolite, and green.
The green amethyst.
Okay.
Let's see how that looks. Okay. And maybe that's what we'll use on the other. See how we let this simmer over here? That briolette's going to be perfect right over there on that side. Yep. So you never want to jump in too soon, especially when you're making jewelry by committee, right? Like we're doing today, which is pretty awesome. I love it, right? So let me push this in a little bit. That was lightning fast, Baranduin.
Well, I know where everything is now.
She does. Well, that makes one of us. I was filling orders the other day and I couldn't find the check drops. I'm like, where are the check drops? But I found them eventually.
Cara's done an excellent job of
Yes, it's so organized and beautiful here. We love our new home so much. And we're so thankful that you guys stuck through us with this move. But we're getting all caught up and everything's getting back to normal, which is great. You never know what a giant undertaking a move is until you actually do it, right? Here is the indicolite. Here is the green amethyst. And here is the serpentine, the green serpentine. I don't know. I kind of like maybe I like the green amethyst. I don't know. Maybe I think the serpentine is out. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does anybody have an opinion?
I definitely like
They're all good.
that one.
This guy? Yeah, I like that clear one too because it really mirrors that color. Let's do that. Okay. So let me see if this 22 gauge. You know what? I don't have it. Just grab a spool brand and I'll just use the end
copper
to show. And it doesn't matter. Everyone's all green amethyst, serpentine, this, yes. It's hard to design by committee, but I'm going to go with this green amethyst, I think. So let me show you and talk about the holes in the briolettes for just a second, okay? Because this is something, the quality of our briolettes, you guys, is really excellent. But sometimes if you are using briolettes from your stash or whatever, there's a little bit of a difference, okay? So here's your briolette, okay? The way that briolettes are drilled, they're usually drilled with a drill that kind of looks like a taper, like this, right? There's a little drill. And it goes in to the bead, and so the hole kind of looks like that, right? So it's a little deceiving. You can sometimes get a larger diameter wire, larger gauge wire through, but then you're stopped right in the middle because it's so skinny, right? If you look through, where did our briolet go? It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the hole running through the top of this briolet. And I'm going to let Brandon get really tight in there so you can see it. You can see that this bead doesn't suffer from that. The holes on the edges might be slightly larger, but you can see that the hole is pretty consistent all the way through. That's the sign, one of the signs of a very high quality brio. Okay, so that is something when you're buying briolets. And you can see on this indicolite one as well, how it really goes all the way straight through. So that's the time when people break their briolets, right? Is that they're shoving a wire that's too heavy through the hole of the briolet. It may go in and stop just maybe about a quarter of the way in, and they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and then that tip of the briolet finally gives way. Okay, so it's better to go a gauge down with your wire than to force the wire through the briolet. Okay, so Brandon ran and got some 22 gauge, and I may have to eat my words here, but I feel like the 22 is a little heavy for this. And yeah, see, it goes, see how it just stops right there. It goes in, and then I can't push it through, right? So that's exactly what's happening with this briolet, that the sides of these holes are big, but then when it goes to the center, I don't want to break this. When it goes to the center, it just stops. So 22 gauge, too big. Okay, so we'll put our friend the 22 gauge aside. Let's get our 24 gauge with this brio, and it should sail right on, which it does. Really nice. And a lot of times, if the briolet is a little smaller, I'll go ahead and I'll pop down to 26 gauge, but this 24 is well nigh perfect. Okay, so I'll clip, and let's get a piece of chain. I have no idea how long I want this piece of chain to be, so I'm just gonna wire wrap it right onto the end, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll determine the length. All right, so here, bend up at an angle, bend the other way. And again, our skill builders on beadshop.com will go over all of that briolet wrapping, but we have a great skill builder and how to, so I won't belabor the point here, but go right to our projects page and click on skill builders, and there's all kinds of skill builders on there for you to play around with. I'm going to make the neck a little long here, but you decide how long you want that to be. Slide this guy on. I'm going to hold that loop and the chain and that extra piece of wire, and I'm going to wrap from the bottom of the loop to the top of the bead hole. There we go. Okay, one loop below the other, and I'm going to make a nice clean wrap on this one this time. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to clip away my excess. Right, let me pull it away a little bit so I can see it. So I only cut that one wire. It all ends in tears when you cut the wire going through the actual briolet. Pull that down and clip away your extra, leaving just a tiny bit of wire that is going to hold that wire in there. And you can just kind of push it down just a little bit so it doesn't catch on anything. All right. So now let's look at, again, another fantastic shoulder duster of an earring. Let's see, let me shake this out a little bit, and let's see where we would connect that brio, right? How long we'd want to make it. So here's everything. I think I want it to sit right exactly there, I think. All right, and I think it needs to connect to that link right there. Let's see. Let me clip this away. And then I'll show you guys how we'll end this. I'm not gonna, we're getting towards the end of our time here, but I'll just wrap it up so you guys can see what else I might add to this piece. Open that up, slide on that piece of chain, making sure I didn't clip that ring. Nope, I didn't. Good. So we've got a whole lot going on here on this jump ring. Okay, so here let me see if I can lay it out. There we are. Look at how those all fit really nicely together. Okay, so one more time, let me lay this down next to JP's ridge right here. So here's her multiple strand, and here's my single strand version that's coming along. Okay, kind of a nice homage, I think, to it, you know, similar look and feel. What are you, you're asking, what are you going to do next, Kate? I don't know. Let me see. I might free up these guys here. I love these beads. This is that new, the Meadow mix, I think it was, in the rondelles. And since it is a mix, and it does have a bunch of colors in it, I might pull out the ones that I think really work super well with this, like maybe those, maybe even these white. I don't know.
I was just thinking those ones would look
yeah,
really nice.
it'll lighten it up. Pardon me. I think it'll lighten it up pretty well. I don't know, they would all work. I like kind of separating these into their colors so I can get a good visual of what these might look like.
Those darker ones would have worked better if you used one of the darker.
Yeah, there's the green and there's those. Yeah, okay. So I think that both of these would actually look pretty nice. And so then I would just kind of maybe quickly kind of lay out, maybe I would double that up and maybe I would put those guys there. Maybe I do it maybe like this. I don't know. Oops. And wait a minute. There we go. Why am I having trouble laying things out? There we are. I like that look. And then, I don't know, let's pull some of these guys in. Maybe I would do them in individual wraps. And again, maybe I'd link some of these together. Maybe I would link some of them to chain. Brandwin brought the hammered pieces, so maybe I would put a hammered piece maybe about right there. That goes there. And this goes here. And maybe that goes over there like that. What else do I have that I'd want to incorporate? I could use our squash blossom metal beads, and maybe that squash blossom bead might be flanked by those melons. Maybe I like that. That looks okay, right? And then I could repeat that blue. And it'll all kind of shake out as I start to wire wrap it, but maybe I'd do a single melon bead here and maybe there and there on the other side of those. And so we're getting pretty long. I mean, depending on how much chain I want to put through, but I could play around with these, and then of course the Tirahishi and these guys here, the Picasso Olivine Transparent. So those guys would be kind of sprinkled throughout the piece, right? And then I'll repeat with these squash blossoms up here, maybe like that. And then I would cut my pieces of chain. I kind of like these links of 3. I think they look kind of nice, so I might kind of repeat that. And then you can see here what Janice did in the back. We just continued the smooth sailing chain and made a dangle on the end. And so I've got the swivel clasp in copper. Let me clear the decks a little bit here. So, and I don't think I'll use any other buttons in the piece. I think that button in the center is a great use of it, so I'm going to let that stand alone. Let me get these guys out of the way. There we go. I think that's shaping up. I'd like to use maybe these drops, so maybe I would use the drops on the back as the ending for the chain, like this. Maybe a couple of those drops would work. Let me get rid of these other chains here so you can see this. And I could, my mom asked, would I use a plain lantern strand right next to it? That actually isn't too bad of an idea. We can bulk it up a little bit and we can do that, have that one come down. I think that's a nice idea for that. So we could. Okay, I think that would be good. Oh, and these ovals, I could grab these hammered ovals and I could put them even a little further down or a little higher up, just depending. But I think that is how this finished piece will all shake out. I'll go ahead and finish it up. We won't have too great of a photo until Karen returns. She may be able to do it a little bit later this week, but we'll get this up for you guys so you can kind of play around with your creation. But I think it's kind of a fun homage to Janice's original design. I'm going to put Janice's original right next to it. And yeah, don't you worry, you guys. We will put this up on the project page for you to look at. We wouldn't leave you hanging. Don't you worry. I'm going to get that Indicolite out of the way. That clasp, these guys. There we go. That's a nice clean view, I think. I'll get this one next to it so you guys can see it. Open it up a little bit. But I think it's a good buddy, I guess, for that one. There we go. Not too bad. Okay, there we are. So, Janice, really wonderful project you did this week. It's entitled February Love, which is great, and maybe I'll call this one, I don't know, maybe Coming of Spring, or I don't know. I'll think of a good one, but we'll think of something to call this guy too. But I think it's a fun companion to both of these, so I think it's great. And I love the little bee. I think the bee flying around there is great. So let me line these up so you can see them just a little bit better. There we go. That looks good. So you can see the dangles. And Brandon's taking a ton of photos, so keep an eye out for the episode notes. You'll have a lot of that info in the episode notes as well. Okay. So let's, I guess, bring this shoot to a close, Bran. And that's right, Janice is mentioning that it's really based on Emily's Stones of Wisdom project, which I must confess I might have forgotten, not really forgot about, but am reminded. Whoops, Bram.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry. But Stones of Wisdom is a really fun project as well for you guys to check out. So we have so many projects on our beadshop.com projects page. So there we go. We're up, we're running. There we go. I like Kim Crawford, Spring Emerging. I like that name. I think that's what we'll call it. What do you think? Spring Emerging. I like that sound, the sound of that. Sorry, we're trying to get the camera back on there. It's a little rough, but we'll get it. I promised I'd show you how this hung one more time. So here it's kind of open so you guys can see that. I'll put this right in front of me so you can see it straight on. So see how it hangs there? And then with the chain in the back, you can make it as adjustable as you'd like. But you can see it looks great. So I really love this piece. And you can make it a little bit longer, you know, if you want. Make some chain in between. Just decide how you want to adapt it. And Michelle's asking about this board. You know, Michelle, I have had these nets, I couldn't tell you for how long. I may have picked them up in some of my travels. But they're kind of cool. They'd be fun to carry, so maybe we'll look into getting them. Especially in this kind of brown, kind of nubby color. I like it a lot. So we'll keep an eye out for them. I'm sure there will be a place where we can find to grab them. Let me put these guys here. I also see you guys asking about Alfred. Alfie is good. He hasn't come to the new office quite yet, but he'll be back. Don't you worry. He's actually so giant now that we're going to have to, I think, rent a special Alfie mobile for him to come to the office, but you'll see him soon. I wanted to let you guys know a couple of things. We've got a couple of orders of business before I sign off. Next week's show is going to be kind of an epic one. We have our wonderful bead table member, Allie Morey. She's coming to do the live broadcast with me. And you guys are not going to believe what she's bringing. You're just not going to believe it. We are going to go through, a lot of you on the bead table have seen that last year, 2018, Allie made a wrap bracelet for every monthly mix color that we have. Well, Allie is coming next week and bringing all 12 of those wrap bracelets. So it's going to be a year of monthly mix wrap bracelets next week with Allie Morey. We're going to talk about her methods, maybe how she puts together color, all kinds of fun things. So you guys are not going to want to miss that one. It's going to be an epic broadcast. And I can't wait to sit with her and learn a lot from her as well. She's amazing when she puts together color. Plus, you guys, that's not the only thing. She has made a beautiful lookbook. So all 12 projects are going to be in a lookbook that you guys will be able to download and look through to your heart's content. So that's coming. That lookbook will be up next week, probably right before the broadcast. And it'll have links and all the stuff, everything she's used. So it will be a broadcast that you'll want to come back to again and again. We also have, you guys, our bead retreat is all planned for this year. It's coming up in September, as always, and we start on Friday, September 13th. We go to Monday morning, September 16th, and this bead retreat this year is called The Journey, and it's all about your kind of personal jewelry journey. We have all of the information is going to go up on the website very shortly. We've had some pre-sale to our former attendees, and so now tomorrow we're going to open up the rest of the spots for people to purchase. So keep an eye on your newsletter tomorrow morning. We're going to open that up at noon Pacific time. That's tomorrow, Valentine's Day, February 14th. We would love to see you guys there with us. Emily and Janice and I will be at our wonderful retreat center in San Juan Bautista, California, and there'll be some special guests, of course, including my mom and some wonderful returnees, but we would love to have you guys there as well. So if check the newsletter, but as I say, sign-ups will go live tomorrow at noon, tomorrow, February 14th. I have, as always, if you guys opened your newsletters this morning, you saw this is our last day of our Czech glass bead sale. When you put the code check 30, and actually there shouldn't be a space there. It's all one word, check 30. You save 30% off on all of our check glass, and the offer is good through tonight, 2/13/2019 at midnight Pacific time. Okay, so if you want to play around with and get yourself a whole palette of check glass beads, today's the day to do it. It's the last day, and we still have plenty of things in stock, so I would go ahead and stock up on those lovelies. We also have a raffle today because it's the day before. I was going to say the day before Thanksgiving. Where did that come from? It's the day before Valentine's Day. It's the 13th of February. And speaking of the retreat, you guys may remember these. These were our retreat bags, our iHeartBeadshop.com retreat bags from our first retreat. Well, during our move, I found a few more of these, and so I have 5 of those to give away. So if you place an order now, I don't know, I need to put a clock in here too, 12 o'clock, the time by the sun, or on my computer, but it's a little afternoon. It's about 5 after 12 here Pacific time. If you place an order in the next hour and you put iHeartBeadshop in the order notes, we will put you in a raffle, and we'll do the raffle tomorrow morning, and 5 lucky winners will have this iHeartBeadshop.com tote bag right in your order. So we would love, we'd love to give these away to you guys. So that's it. Check 30 in the coupon code box and iHeartBeadshop in your shipping notes. And that's it. So Friday I will be back. Free Tip Friday is back. I know you guys are stoked. What am I doing, you ask? I have no idea, she says, but it's going to be something fun and exciting for you guys. And then next week is the epic Ali Mori broadcast, which is going to be so fantastic. A year of wrap bracelets with Ali Mori. And then I have a couple of fun broadcasts. We're going to be doing the Tree of Life at the end of the month, which is going to be great. And then Janice is going to be back with us here on a broadcast. She is going to be here. Janice is going to beat me before I say the date, I bet. But I want to tell you, it'll be the 13th. Janice will be back on 3/13 with me. And Emily will be back soon. I saw, Em, that you just popped on, so expect a call from me later so we can schedule that in. All right, my dears, my dear friends, thank you so much for joining me in our inaugural broadcast right here in our new Facebook Live studio. Thank you to Brandwin for doing all of that, running around, back and forth, getting me the things I needed. And thanks to you for hanging in there with us through this epic move. Keep your eye out for your newsletters tomorrow about the signups for our retreat. And I can't wait to see you guys on Friday for Free Tip Friday. Have a great rest of your day, you guys. Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.